What if a single vision could heal a nation on the brink of collapse? In 1531, that miracle happened, and the secrets behind it still protect and guide millions today. The year is 1531. A nation is on its knees. Just a decade earlier, the Aztec Empire, a civilization of stunning complexity, had crumbled under the steel of Spanish conquerors. Two worlds, once separated by an ocean, were now locked in a brutal, hopeless conflict. An entire culture faced extinction, its temples destroyed, its gods silenced, its people decimated by war and disease. The indigenous population had plummeted, and a suffocating despair settled over the land. But in the midst of this darkness, a humble man received 3 divine promises from a mysterious lady. These weren't just promises that would stop the bloodshed. They would heal a nation and leave behind a miracle that continues to defy science almost 500 years later. These are the 3 divine secrets that can become your personal refuge in our own turbulent times. The crisis and the story. To really grasp the miracle, we have to understand the world that birthed it. Early 16th century Mexico was a land of deep trauma. The Aztec Empire, for all its brilliance, was built on a religion that demanded constant human sacrifice. This worldview was shattered in 1521 with the fall of its capital, Tenochtitlan, to Hernan Cortes. The conquest wasn't just a change of power, it was an apocalypse. The Spanish, driven by God, gold, and glory, tried to force their culture and faith on the vanquished. They banned the old rituals and tore down the temples. But the conversion efforts were slow. How could the native people embrace the God of the men who had destroyed their world, enslaved them, and brought diseases like smallpox that wiped out millions? The land was broken, caught between a bloody past and a brutal present. There was no trust, no shared identity, no hope. It was a spiritual wasteland. The first bishop of Mexico, Juan de Zumarraga, was in despair. Appointed the protector of the Indians, he found himself powerless against the abuses of Spanish officials. He wrote to the King of Spain, "If God does not act, this land will be lost forever." In his private prayers, the bishop made a desperate plea. He asked the Virgin Mary for a sign that she would intervene. He asked for roses from his homeland of Castilla, Spain. It was into this world that a man named Juan Diego was born. A humble farmer around 57 years old, his native name meant one who speaks like an eagle. He was a widower and a recent convert to Catholicism who lived a quiet life. Every Saturday, he would walk for miles to attend Mass near Mexico City. His path took him past a barren hill called Tepeyac. This hill had a dark history. It was the former site of a temple to the Aztec mother goddess, Tonantzin. Now it was just a pile of rubble, a place most people avoided. The apparition and the miracle. On the morning of Saturday, December 9th, 1531, as Juan Diego passed the hill, something extraordinary happened. The bleak, landscape was suddenly filled with the sound of what sounded like thousands of beautiful birds. He stopped, wondering if he was dreaming. Then the music stopped, and a woman's voice called to him from the top of the hill, calling his name with affection. Juanito, Juan Dieguito. Far from being afraid, he was filled with joy. He climbed the hill, and there, standing in a radiant cloud of light, was a beautiful young lady. Her clothes shone like the sun, and the rocks beneath her feet glittered like jewels. She was a maiden of breathtaking beauty, her features not Spanish, nor purely indigenous, but a perfect blend of both, a mestiza. She spoke to him in his native Nuahati, her tone filled with maternal tenderness. Know and understand that I am the perfect and ever virgin Holy Mary, Mother of the God of Truth. I would very much like to have a little house built here for me, in which I will show him. I will give him to the people with all my personal love, my compassion, my help, my protection. She commanded him to go to the palace of Bishop Zumarraga and tell him everything. She wanted a sacred temple built on that hill so she could hear the weeping of the people and heal all their sorrows and sufferings. Filled with purpose, Juan Diego hurried to the bishop's residence. But getting an audience wasn't easy for a poor indigenous man. After a lot of waiting, he was finally brought before Bishop Zumarraga. He knelt and recounted the incredible story. The bishop, a cautious man, listened patiently but was deeply skeptical. He had dealt with false visionaries before. He kindly dismissed Juan Diego, telling him to come back another day. Dejected, Juan Diego walked back to Tepeyac. The lady was waiting. He fell to his knees. "My lady, I went where you sent me, but he did not believe me." He felt he wasn't worthy of the task. He suggested she send someone of noble birth, someone respected. "Listen, littlest of my sons. I have many messengers I could send, but it is necessary that you yourself should be the one. I earnestly implore you, go again tomorrow." Strengthened by her confidence, he agreed. The next day, Sunday, he returned to the bishop's palace. What would happen next? Would the bishop finally believe Juan Diego? And what miraculous sign would the lady give? One that would change history forever? The sign that shook a nation. Sunday morning, December 10th, Juan Diego returned to the bishop's palace. Determined but nervous, he waited for hours before he was admitted. When he finally stood before Bishop Zumarraga again, he repeated the message of the lady. This time, the bishop listened more attentively, but he needed proof. He quietly told Juan Diego, "If this lady truly comes from heaven, ask her for a sign." Juan Diego agreed and returned to Tepeyac, but the lady was already waiting for him. He told her everything. The bishop wanted a sign. She smiled gently. "Come back tomorrow and you will receive it." But the next morning, everything changed. Juan Diego's beloved uncle, Juan Bernardino, had fallen gravely ill, so sick that Juan Diego feared he was dying. He spent the entire day tending to him. He missed the appointment with the lady. Before dawn, on December 12th, he set out to bring a priest to confess his uncle. But he was ashamed to pass the hill, afraid the lady might ask about yesterday. So he went around the other side. But she descended the hill and intercepted him. "Where are you going, my little son?" He confessed everything. His voice trembled with anxiety about his uncle, but she spoke the words that became the most cherished in all of Mexico. "Do not be troubled. Am I not here who am your mother? Are you not under my shadow and protection? Are you not in the crossing of my arms?" Then she told him a secret. His uncle was already healed. Now it was time for the sign. She instructed him to climb to the top of Tepeyac Hill. He obeyed. The top of the hill was barren, rocky, and frozen in winter. But when Juan Diego reached it, he gasped. There, in the dead of December, bloomed Castilian roses. The very roses the bishop had prayed for. Roses that did not exist in Mexico. He gathered them carefully into his tilma, the coarse cloak worn by the poorest men. The lady arranged them with her own hands. "These roses are the sign. Take them to the bishop. Tell him that in them he shall see my wish." Juan Diego hurried to the bishop's palace. He was barely let in, but when he was finally brought before Zumarraga, he opened his tilma and the roses fell to the floor. But the bishop wasn't looking at the roses. He was staring at the tilma. His face went pale. He fell to his knees. Because on the tilma, a garment woven of cactus fiber, appeared the miraculous image of the Lady, Our Lady of Guadalupe, a living icon, a message encoded in symbols, a miracle that endures to this very day. The three divine secrets. Now that the miracle was unveiled to the bishop, the lady revealed three divine promises, three secrets that would heal a nation and still protect souls today. The first secret, a mother's personal protection. In her own words, she promised, "I will give him to the people with all my love, my compassion, my help, and my protection." This was not poetic language. It was a literal guarantee of a maternal protection to anyone who seeks her intercession. For a broken nation, this promise was the balm that softened hardened hearts. People began to understand this mother was not foreign, not Spanish, not Aztec. She was the mother of all, who welcomed every suffering child under her mantle, and that mantle healed them. The second secret, healing of sorrows and wounds. She said she would build a house where she would hear their weeping and heal their pains, their miseries, and their sorrows. This meant that the conversion of Mexico was not accomplished by force, not by swords, not by political pressure, but by a mother who chose to heal wounds instead of reopening them. This promise drew millions. Within a single decade, over 8 million conversions took place, one of the greatest movements of faith in history. Their hearts changed because she changed them. The third secret, a sign for the end of darkness. The lady also revealed a supernatural secret to Juan Bernardino, the uncle who had been healed. she told him her title, I am the perfect Virgin Holy Mary of Guadalupe. This was not Spanish. It echoed an older indigenous phrase meaning she who crushes the serpent. The serpent was the symbol of the ancient religion built on human sacrifice. Her arrival marked the end of it, the end of that darkness, the end of that fear. And so the third secret was a prophecy. Whenever she comes, she crushes the serpent and ends the reign of spiritual darkness. This is why she became the mother of a renewed nation, the mother who replaced despair with hope, violence with peace, and pagan sacrifice with the sacrifice of the Mass. Why this miracle still protects today? The tilma still hangs in Mexico today after almost 500 years on cactus fiber cloth that should have decayed in 20. Scientists have studied it for decades, and the mysteries only deepen. The colors do not fade, the fabric does not age, there is no paint, no brush stroke. In her eyes, visible only under microscopic study, is the reflection of the bishop, his assistant, and Juan Diego opening the tilma. It is a living moment, frozen in time. But for Catholics, the real miracle is not the science. The real miracle is the promise. Her three divine secrets still belong to every child of the Church who seeks her intercession. Her personal protection, her healing of sorrows, her crushing of spiritual darkness. This is why Our Lady of Guadalupe converted a nation, and this is why she still protects souls today. If you enjoyed listening to this story, kindly subscribe to Vigo Potens for more content about our beautiful Catholic faith. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I give thee my heart and my soul. O Mary, Co-Redemptrix and Mediatrix of all graces, pray for us.